All right, now that we're recording, good morning, everybody. It's Paul Tollefson, and I'm so glad you joined me today for this Zoom call. And I just wanted to put it out there that I'm going to start inviting folks, and this will include you since you're on the call. We want to invite you to join me every Wednesday and Thursday for 15 minutes. I mean, it's just a short, sweet, in and out phone call. Have coffee together, and of course, maybe go over some strategies that'll help us all in this market right now that we're experiencing with higher interest rates and higher inflation, et cetera. So with that in mind, thank you for showing up. First of all, it's great to see you all here. And I wanted to share a couple of strategies. It's actually the same strategy, but a couple of different price points. I was working with a client this last week. We had a really big win, an opportunity. Right now, it's super hard. First of all, it's hard for sellers who are out there watching these interest rates rise and seeing fewer and fewer people in the marketplace, because a lot of folks are thinking, well, I'm going to hold out for lower interest rates. And I know you've all experienced this, and we all know as professionals that the chances of that happening anytime soon, nobody has a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen with rates, but what we do know is the value of homes continues to appreciate. And so people who aren't getting in this year, with inflation affecting their dollar every month, and their dollar being worth less, the money they have in the bank is worth less every month with higher inflation. Right now is the best time to buy. So a strategy to help buyers be interested, first of all, to get into purchasing, and second of all, be able to look at it as an opportunity in this high rate environment and price reductions that we're seeing, create an opportunity where they might actually be able to recreate the pre-approvals that they had 3 or 4 or more than that, actually 6 or 7 months ago when rates were in the 4s still. As you know, we've seen rates creep up to over 6% in some cases, and jumbo rates are still in the mid 5s for a 30-year fix. So the examples that we're going to look at today are, one is a $600,000 sale, one is a $1.8 million sale, and I created one of the two just to show that the strategy we're using today works on multiple price points. I mean, it can work almost on any price point that comes up. Now, the cool thing is we use this as a strategy for a buyer to put an offer in on a home where the price reduction had already happened. And again, I'm calling the strategy kind of offer more and pay less. And in this situation, the buyer and the agent looked together at homes that had seen a price reduction recently, and as a result found one that was appealing, and they were able to present the offer in such a way that the seller went, yeah, that's a win. So here's where we are. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. We're going to get right into it. The first one that I will share with you, if I can find my screen. Here we go. It's right here. Okay. All right. So this is, by the way, I'm using a tool called Mortgage Coach, and the Mortgage Coach tool is just probably my very, very best source of being able to explain the lending process to a client, to a seller, to a realtor, anybody, really, really well. It's such a powerful presentation tool. So let's get right into it. You're going to see 4 columns here in this case, and this is a $1.8 million purchase. So originally, the home was listed for 1.8, and at 20% down, that would make the loan amount 1.44 million, and the interest rate at current interest rates was about 5 5/8, and that's on a 30-year fixed. With PITI, the payment monthly was at that price point would have been $10,364. Now, obviously, that's a lot of money every month, and people are thinking about interest rates may be dropping, and so they're hesitant to just jump right into a payment that size. So in this situation, the seller had reduced the price by 100,000. They made a price reduction that would potentially entice a buyer in, because it definitely lowers both their loan amount and their monthly payment. You can see that they're saving $564 a month from what it would have been, and that might be just enough to get a buyer in the front door. But what kind of buyer are we going to see? We're still going to likely see at that price reduction a cash buyer coming in, 1.7, let's say cash, close 7 days, boom, it's sold, and your borrower, your buyer that is borrowing is going to have a hard time competing. So the strategy that we came up with is, instead of the owner reducing the price from here to here by $100,000, what if instead the owner contributed to the buyer's closing costs? So we said, let's make the offer the original price, 1.8 million, loan amount still 1.44 million. But instead of instead of discounting the house 100,000, let's buy down the interest rate. And in this case, they bought it down a full percent to 4.625. What that did for the buyer of the home is it got their payment down $885 from what it would have originally been. And of course, that's $330 more than the price reduction of 100. The cool thing is it puts cash back into the seller's pocket, because they are not out a full 100,000 like they would have been in option number 2 for them. Instead, and we'll look here at the costs, covering the full closing costs for the buyer would be about $84,600. So you can see they're putting $15,400 back in their pocket from the sale of their home, as opposed to discounting at 100,000. Now the win on that is it gives the buyer the lowest price, the lowest payment, the lowest interest rate. It gives the seller the most money of the options that they've got on the table, and it preserves the price of the home in the neighborhood. So it's going to help us keep the appreciation of the homes growing the way it should. If we begin to see prices fall and go backwards, then that appreciation rate is going to be affected, obviously. And over time, I think what's really interesting, as you look, you can see that the client is with this option is actually saving over 5 years $105,000. Now that's a substantial savings for your buyer. And if you look at the final column, this is the same offer, and we didn't do this. I just wanted to put this in for the presentation, but we could have elected to do a 7-year adjustable rate mortgage. Had we done that, we could have gotten the rate all the way down to 4.125 with about the same contribution and putting the same amount of money back in the seller's pocket, making it attractive to accept. And look at that monthly savings over the original payments. We're talking a full $1,300 from the first payment. So, again, this is just a strategy that is so simple to employ. And the cool thing about it is reverse engineer this. Let's talk to your seller about doing a price reduction. Let's create one of these total cost analysis for your client who is selling their home. Instead of reducing the price, let's create an offer for buyers out there. Hey, we can get your interest rate back to where it was last year. We can help you qualify for more house. We can help you offset your closing costs. This is attractive. These are the things that are going to draw buyers in on a week in, week out basis. So hopefully you can see how valuable this very presentation is. If you are a buyer's agent and you're helping your buyer get into something, this is an opportunity to seek out those properties that have already had the price reduction that we're seeing. In Marin County, the average is about 8% on those price reductions. So we're seeing that quite a bit. if you are a listing agent and you haven't had the action that you want, and you're having that conversation about price reduction with your sellers, think about this as an alternative and a way to attract buyers into that property and get it sold faster. So I'm going to take a look here, see if we have any questions. I really, really appreciate that you all have jumped in here. And by the way, before I close out this Mortgage Coach presentation, please reach out. If you have a scenario, it doesn't matter whether it's this offer more or pay less scenario, we can design one of these for anything that you're doing, rent versus own, or just an analysis between different loan options, or there's just a number of things, an appraisal gap strategy. I mean, we can use this tool to show how we can help your client save money in the long run. And of course, it makes you look better as well. So if you have any questions at all, drop them into the chat box here. I'm going to close this out. Happy to, again, make one of these for you for any specific sale you have. I'm looking into messages. No questions. Look at that. Here we are. The only thing that I'm missing here is the opportunity to talk with you face to face and have you be able to communicate the same way that I am, as we have your mics muted here. But let's do this again next week if you get a chance. Of course, I sent the invite out. There is an invite for tomorrow's class as well, or a little seminar. If you want to have somebody jump on board and tune into this tomorrow with you, invite them. Forward that invitation. Let's do it. And as you can see, we're not even quite to 15 minutes yet, so we're trying to keep it short and sweet. Thanks so much. I really look forward to doing this regularly with you. If you have any questions, just don't hesitate to call. I'll send a copy of this recorded Zoom to you so you have it, and it's available for you to review. There you go. That's it. Again, good to meet a few of you. There's some people on the call today that I don't know. Hopefully we get a chance to get together soon. Those of you that I do, again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sharing this with your friends, and look forward to seeing you next time. Cheers.